Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. Yes, it's been about 4 days since I actually managed to able to get back into this game, but before I actually discuss all that kinds of stuff, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3. So last time we actually did tackle through, specifically Shamar daytime level, and especially noticeable with the forms of Empire City Night. And even then though, despite the fact that I've already died like 4 times on that specific level alone, that's only because of how the fact that with that particular Titan enemy, and especially noticeable by the forms of certain obstacles or platforming sections, can get really frustrating at the same time, but that's just how it is for me though. So yeah, speaking of such though, that today for this episode is the fact that we're going to be heading back into Shamar and able to talk to Professor Pickle to see what our next objective is going to be. So even I know that since after all we've already tackled through, you know, both Shamar Day and Empire City Night. So I'm assuming we have to able to actually tackle through the next 3 objectives we're going to be doing for this particular point and onwards, especially consist of how the fact that we've only got about 3 more continents left. Well, 3 more specifically 2 focused ones, but in forms of Shamar and Anabat, because you know, Empire City doesn't count as a continent. It's just the premise of the forms of just the exclusive stage to be played with. So even I know that still is pretty mandatory in order to actually finish the entirety of the story, unless if you're actually trying to explore those different acts or what have you, like Act 2 and stuff like that. But I just realized about something. I was off by 1 sun medal left to able to reach to 100, and I was like, are you kidding me? But anyway, so hopefully we can able to get ourselves a sun medal from this point here, but still it's incredibly tedious enough to able to actually just to find them in any single part of the level, or even especially noticeable in the hub worlds themselves, which even I know that can get a little bit more you know, multitasking at the same time throughout. So anyways, I don't think there's anything else to be said about the 4th and the final sun medal that we can find. There's also the 4th and final moon medal that I was hoping I can try to find it, but still no luck for that. So oh well, at least we can able to actually avoid that at all times though. Well, not until sooner or later. So anyways, let's go and talk to Professor Pickle. So let's see what has to say for us. Sonic, my boy, I've made another breakthrough. The manuscript suggests a temple lies in the Anabat area. Do you know the way? The world map should indicate its location. Oh, I understand that. Very well, my friend. Well, my friends, let's place another Chaos Emerald right there. Oh, and one more thing. Sonic, you should be able to reach new areas within Shamar and Empire City. So this is going to be a multitasking there. I realize you have much to do, but investigate the areas will do. So yes, there's going to be not 1, but 3 objectives we're going to be able to do with for the time being, which are both Shamar Night that we can able to do it later on, and also Empire City Day. So even I know, and also not to mention, but in forms of Anabat, which should be the next continent we're going to be heading to, but much like how it does in the forms of Nintendo Wii version / PlayStation 2 version of that particular Let's Play of Sonic Unleashed, I decided to go with those in a particular order. I'm also able to wrap things up with Empire City, and then able to actually get back into Shamar to able to actually get this over with by the forms of, well, the 5th continent to restore, and especially noticeable with the 5th Chaos Emerald as well. So I'm also able to do that in the corresponding order, because if I was imagining going to be doing Anabat first, that would be really odd placement to able to actually do this in the corresponding order. But that's just how it is for me though. So anyways, let's head into the Empire City. So everything else will be in check there. So yes, as I mentioned to you guys before, it's been about 4 days since I actually managed to able to last uploaded this, because of how the fact that, well, recently Mario has now recently finished up with his Let's Play of the forms of NES remakes. So eventually that Sonic will able to actually now finally tackle through NES remakes 2, but it wasn't until July. So even I know that he might as well able to save that for the time. So anyways, and yes, oh yeah, because I also record there, so it's pretty optional if you want to find that. Alright, so let's get to it, but in forms of actually getting to that correct spawning button sequences for these little counterpulse sections. and that way we can actually entering a daytime stage in Empire City. In this case, Skyscraper Scamper, if I like to say that much. So, still it only requires a level 5 amount of sun medals, just like how it does in Shamar Day. So, you get the idea what this little suggestion goes. So, here we go. I actually really do like this level, and that's, as far as at this point, the daytime stages, especially with the nighttime levels in addition to that as well, despite the fact that I've already died about 4 times in the nighttime level, as I mentioned this earlier ago, this is why the daytime stages can get really difficult, especially noticeable with the forms of too many bottomless pits, too many obstacles that we had to actually deal with, and especially not to mention, as you can see there, all these quick time events is actually a lot faster this time around. So, there's gonna be, oh yeah, don't boost here, because you might able to lose control of yourself, especially noticeable there's actually no guardrail, or in this case a little bit of a fence to able to protect yourself if you manage to overshoot stuff, so even then know. Now because of that though, that you can't really influence the mid-air, unlike how it does in forms of, you know, Sonic Colors, because due to in Sonic Colors you get yourself a double jump, and especially noticeable by the forms of, Sonic Generations, they're able to actually get ourselves a nice fluid mid-air control. But it's just how the fact that, yeah, that's what old school video games like this. But even I know, since this game was almost 10 years old, alongside with the Wii and the PlayStation 2 version, and especially noticeable with the PlayStation 3 version, but hey, at least that's something. So anyways, before we continue, I believe there's going to be a moon medal up there. But at this point, since I've already reached into level 6 amounts of moon medals, it might seems pretty pointless to go after every single moon medals at this point, and away we go. And because of that though, we don't have to worry about the moon medals. The only things we do need to concentrate right about now is the forms of sun medals, because even then though, that I haven't got one of them just yet, until when we actually hopefully trying to find one. But you know, we don't have to worry about the moon medals at this point, as I mentioned earlier, because enjoying the likes of, oops, that was my fault there. I wasn't paying too much attention with this level layout very well. But sometimes it's really hard to tell what's up ahead, so even then I must confess right about now, do an occasional wall jump, and there's another moon medal right there, but there's just no need to be able to continuously going after those. This is probably the easiest quick time events you can able to pull off with, because you know, the timer itself is really slow, and especially noticeable you've got plenty of time to able to actually reach to react to it. So, anyway though, I guess in today was actually forms of the 1st of May 2018, which we actually got into the 5th month of the forms of 2018 at this point. And we've only got about 3 more days left until Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch will be arriving until that time. But even then though, first newcomers of introduced to the, I don't know, we may actually get ourselves the experience of actually playing as Funky Kong for the very first time in a Donkey Kong Country game. Well, despite the fact he's already been a easy guy, or especially noticeable how game-breaking that can be, especially noticeable that's what these nifty surfboard is all about for Funky Kong. But at least I can able to actually give that version some credit that and also the idle animation is completely different. I just realized, but it forms of between the Wii U version and the Nintendo Switch version is that in the Wii U version, if you manage to wait for a few seconds of, like, if you're playing as Donkey Kong or your companion Diddy Kong or something like that, no matter what though, in the Wii U version, that the Donkey Kong managed to play himself his 3DS XL. But this time around though, on the Nintendo Switch version, you can now able to play Nintendo Switch itself, which is actually kind of cool looking. And also I just realized about something is that differently from the Switch version and the Wii U version is that DK's nose, especially with Donkey Kong's nose, is actually entirely different between the Wii U and the Nintendo Wii U version. Or did I mention the Wii U? Or actually Nintendo Switch version at the same time, because it's now got a little bit more detailed around here. So anyways, let's go ahead and finish this Empire City Day, so let's see how I did. Nice! Nice effort, S rank. How about that then, huh? Even though despite the fact that I've already get hit by the electricity parts by the forms of the robot chasing sequences right there, but I'm okay with, because even then though, that I can still manage to get myself an opportunity to be able to get ourselves an S ranking no problem. So anyway, so now we've gone with that Empire City Day, so that pretty much covers every single part of Empire City. So even then, now that we can now able to actually head back to Spoogonia, because I'd like to save Anabat for last, and I've now reached into 100 sun medals. So how about that then? And yeah, if you manage to reach to 100 sun medals, that could be the same applies for moon medals as well. If you manage to reach 100 or more than that, you can get yourself an achievement slash trophy for that matter, is that you can able to actually collect like a halfway portion of the forms of, you know, both sun and moon medals simultaneously. So, or in this case, different perspectives, but even that's as far as I can tell, but anyway. So anyways though, let's head back to Sumar, as I mentioned earlier, because now we can able to tackle through a nighttime level, so even then, oh man. Oh, by the way, with the forms of uncanny camera, as you can tell on the top right corner, you cannot use it in daytime because obviously most of the townspeople are pretty much fine by the looks of all that, but it only works in nighttime levels, or in this case in the nighttime's hub world. Sorry for a little bit of a tongue twisting at the end, folks, I must confess right about now. But anyways, let's head into this particular secondary hub in the forms of Shumar, and switched over to the forms of Sonic the Hairy Werehog. And that way we can able to tackle for a nighttime level. So, I believe this way able to actually requires us to get all the way up to level 6 amount of, you know, level 6 moon medals. Because as you can see on screen, it does say 6 on there. It means that you need to able to collect about, you know, roughly 80 moon medals. And what's behind here? Oh, it's just another artwork. So anyways though, let's get into the Arid Sands in Act 1 in nighttime level. So, thankfully though, we don't have to deal with the body forms of just 4 acts instead of like, well, you know, just 1 act like we're doing right about now. Alright, let's get to it. So, as you expected, we're gonna have to go after every single sun medals, because at this point we've only got about 20 more sun medals left before we're able to actually reach the mandatory amount of medals that we can get. But in forms of, you know, level 7, and this way we can actually requires us to able to actually proceed to the game, especially noticeable by the forms of and a bad day, so even though that could be something worth mentioning. But anyways, we actually introduced to ourselves the Fiery Wizard right there. Even though it might be, I don't know if it's considerably, it might actually does the exact same ways of how it does it on the Wii and the PlayStation 2 version of the Fire Wizards. Oh, they managed to appear right as soon as I went behind them. Okay, that's a bit weird there, but anyway. So again, there's not much else to really just to discuss upon for that point. Well, besides the fact that, well, recently I've managed to able to go myself quite a few things, but in forms of the PlayStation 3 console at this point, which are DLC packs of Sonic Unleashed, which I said this before, but in forms of the last video, because I need to practice those before I start doing, but in forms of the you know, DLC stuff, new forms of this game in particular, both the daytime and the nighttime level. And especially noticeable by the forms, I've actually purchased myself the forms of the new Sonic Generations Dynamic Classic theme on my PlayStation 3. And especially noticeable ever since during the likes of 2012, when I used to got Disney's action game featuring Hercules for the PlayStation 1. That was back in during the likes of 2012, when I did manage to got that game, but it got screwed over due to how the fact that my copy of the game got heavily scratches. Even though that as a result, I've managed to able to pick up a downloadable version of Disney's action game featuring Hercules this time around, because, well, not only because of how the fact of my PlayStation 3 system, all that stuff, which I'm hoping my PS3 does not corrupt at all, and also a simple premise of this is how the fact that I'm probably not going to able to pick up a used copy of that game at this point, because if I manage to able to come across into like heavily scratched game, because that's what normally happens to me whenever I, you know, back in during the likes of 2012, when around the same time as when I'm assuming Mickey Mouse was hopefully finishing up with Mario Party 6, and especially noticeable by the forms of Piglet is now recently starting through Mario Party 7. But when we did got Disney's action game featuring Hercules, among the same time as we actually got the actual physical release of the DVD as well, by the forms of my childhood memories. But all that happens is though, is that I'm trying to boot things up in the forms of my original PlayStation 1, but then my game does not even read properly, which even though that caused a major issue. So even though I feel like to myself that, well, the only exception being by the forms of Klonoa Daughter Phantomile, because there's one thing I should probably point things out for this point, folks. Originally we decided to able to actually tackle through Klonoa Daughter Phantomile by the forms of starting through the Klonoa Marathon. Well, unfortunately though, that will not gonna happen until when it gets to the point whenever I sort out on things, most notably, you know how the fact that if you guys lived in a European version of that particular PlayStation 3 console, if you're ever trying to desperately download it, Klonoa Daughter Phantomile on the PlayStation 1, and then normally it has the American logo, which even I know in this case American flag. And every time when I boot up that game, on the forms of the actual PlayStation 3 system, and the entire thing itself runs at 50 Hz mode, which is a hell of a shame, because it makes it all slow and horrible. But as a result though, I might try to able to pick up a physical release, and it's only exclusive to UK version only, so that way I can able to actually just to get started by the forms of the Klonoa series of playthroughs, starting with, you know, the first game, all the way up to the Wii version remake, so even I know, like, you know, all the way up to, you know, the first game, the second game, and the Empire of Dreams. I don't think I can able to tackle through the second GBA installment by the forms of the Dream Champ tournament, because that game only saw the light of day on the forms of, well, speak more specifically for North America, and I don't know if Japan got that particular game, but I do know that Japan already got the RPG game for Klonoa by the forms of Klonoa Heroes, as far as I'm aware. But anyway, so yeah, you get the idea about this. The actual status reports about the fact that our Let's Play schedule goes. But even then, I'm afraid for those of you who actually been waiting for Klonoa series for so long now, especially noticeable that I was really hoping that we can able to do a redo Let's Play of Klonoa for the Wii. But unfortunately, this will have to be delayed until when it gets to either 2019, or especially noticeable by the forms of at the very end of the year. So at least I can hoping I was able to actually get that in time. But anyway, if we go over here, still some more rings. I really need some medals, god dang it. But even then, to be more specifically, I need to get myself some medals most likely, because, you know, I've only got about, you know, 20 more left before I reach to, you know, level 7, status of the forms of, you know, trying to get every single sun medals on that particular main playthrough of the game, but still. And also as another thing, as a reason why that the Klonoa Marathon Let's Plays will be delayed until next year or something like that, is because, you know, we're most likely concentrating on the forms of not only the continuation on Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, which Sonic still need to get back into it, because he has been delaying for that for so long, and also by the forms of concentrating on the Kirby series of playthroughs. But even though know that so far that we've already completely done with how many games that we've managed to completely done with. I do know there's Kirby Superstar, or no, let's go back to the beginning. Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Adventure, so that was about 2 games in 1 month in the forms of January. And then in February we've done Kirby's Dream Land 2. And on March, we've done Kirby Superstar, aka Kirby's Fun Pack, for the Super Nintendo version throughout. And during the likes of last month, which is the forms of April, that we've pretty much recently done through Kirby's Dream Land 3. So at this point, we're now entering the next generation for Kirby, by the forms of Kirby 64 at this point. But it wasn't until when we get to at some point in this month, which is May. So even I know that, well, obviously first off, I need to able to actually finish this main playthrough of Sonic Unleashed before I'm able to start doing with the DLC stuff into other future points throughout. So if that's the case, I would able to actually showcase off some DLC stuff and during at some point in July, amongst with when Sonic is about to be doing NES Remix 2. So even I know that could be something a little bit more entertaining at the same throughout. There's a moon medal right there in case if you're about to be finding that. So let's go ahead and get rid of this fire wizard, and amongst with this little wasp looking enemies right there. But even though there's only one of them showing up though, which even another may seem the case though. But anyway, let's go ahead and just get these experience drive points, and we can able to actually proceed on things. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, there's not much enemies around here, so yeah, that's all I can cover. So anyways, let's go ahead and just continue and destroy that particular enemy right there. And yeah, as we expected in this particular level's gimmick is the fact that we need to carry 4 stones all the way to this particular pendulum, and if you manage to grab all 4 of those stones in that pendulum, then we would able to actually just reach at the very end of the level, because I think that's where we can get at that point. But anyways, let's go ahead and get ourselves a sun medal. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just double check around here, because I definitely need to know if there's something's wrong here or something like that, but even then, no. I don't know why I keep on exploring for all that stuff. Oh, there's actually another sun medal right there, which is a good thing, because we do need more of them before you're able to, you know, reach into level 7's amount of, you know, sun medals that we can actually require. And, yeah, you get the idea with this solution as far as you might notice something like that. But anyway, jeez, where is the stones? I know they might be somewhere around here, but... oh, please don't tell me the game's somewhat glitched out for that particular point. Actually, I might as well keep on wandering around and all that stuff, because even I know that... well, I don't know what's wrong with me, but as far as this point with this particular level itself, but even I know it wasn't my fault or anything, it's just how the fact that... well, it just feels a bit odd to see how those stones were supposed to be there in the first place, but... apparently there wasn't any of those stones that we can find. Oh yeah, this is the area that I would not recommend entering, because even though, unless if you're able to actually get yourselves all of the medals of the game, like specifically the Sun and Moon medals, is that if you manage to go all the way up to that point right there, much like how it does it in Junon Night, or in this case Dragon Road Night time level, basically you fight against with these all sorts of enemies. They are quite endless at this point throughout, so even I know that's not a really good area to able to actually approach into, because sometimes they always spawn in all over the place, and especially noticeable that if you think that this section was supposed to be over and done with, but there's still more to it due to how the fact that these enemies keep on respawning every time you kill them. So yeah, I'm getting wrecked any minute, which even I know I probably should need some more health units, which even I know, oh, we got a record there, and would you look at that, there's a sun medal right from over there. So yeah, unless if you're trying to able to grab that sun medal, then it's entirely up to you, but it's not worth it to able to actually get in there, because first off, you might get butt kicked by the forms of these enemies as from the start, and especially noticeable that if you accidentally die on this part, not only does your score counts will go all the way back to 0 completely, but also I'm assuming that you have to redo the entire process of beating the likes of these enemies again, which even I know that might be not good at all. It's not good at all. So, yeah, there's not much, you know, else to be said about this point, because, well, you know, that's all I can say about it. So anyways, let's go ahead and just beat the likes out of these, standard-based enemies right there, in addition to those wizard-type enemies right there. And especially noticeable with this really annoying red wasp-looking enemy right there, which we probably would be able to actually deal with these guys. Well, at least this stage gives you some credit for it's the fact that you can able to easily grind yourself some more experience points, which should be a good area to able to reach in this area to begin with. Unless if you're able to actually be very careless to able to actually dodge through every single enemies, in addition to not to get your health depleted completely. So even I know that the worst offender of this is probably the red wasp looking enemies, because even I know they could always about to get you if you don't know what you're doing. Especially noticeable that if you're trying to pull off some of these combos correctly, then you weren't able to be fine for the most part. It's just as one of those things that I always hate to be forced to deal with these particular enemy fights like this, because it can sometimes drag on through way too many episodes like that. So have we pretty much done there? I'm not sure actually, because even then though, I was well able to actually wait a minute, am I stuck? Wait a minute, let's see what's in here though. I need to double check. Oh, you still exist! Let me just finish you off real quickly. There we go. Is it done? Completely done? Okay, it's done because of that little translation by the forms of that particular cinematic scenes right there. Especially noticeable by the forms of that particular points right there. So yeah, everything else will be alright for that part. So still, where's the stones? I need to know exactly what where the stones might be hidden or something like that, or maybe the game somewhat just glitched out or something like that, or maybe it's probably because it doesn't seem to load up everything though. Okay, jump code for this point, folks, because it turns out... Oh yeah, I've got myself my first blue stone right there, which... if you probably did not know already, I think the reason why that these stones doesn't pop up to begin with, mainly all 4 of them, is probably because if you continuously move around the camera and all that stuff, granted, because I'm spending about few minutes to able to actually explore for this particular location, but if you manage to go back all the way to the last checkpoint they've automatically touched by the forms of earlier ago, in fact that you can tell that I was able to keep on searching for those 3 last stones to able to actually locate it, but that at first I thought that these 2 forms of artifact that the game sometimes doesn't load up the forms of some of these stone locations and all that stuff. And especially noticeable with this weird glitch that has been occurred. Well, yeah, I basically give up. Although, if you manage to go all the way back there, and then... Let's just see how everything's... everything is loaded, including rings. Jeez, that's the most despicable glitch I've ever encountered, or even especially noticeable with the forms of, not loaded glitch, or anything else for that relatable. Even then, no. It can sometimes happen to me in my parts in that case, but it's just the fact that I'm presuming that the game doesn't usually load every single objects in the forms of water barrels, and especially noticeable with the forms of tons of pots, and even especially some of these requirement stones in order to actually proceed to the level. So yeah, that's a bit of an embarrassment stuff you might as well able to see there, but even then, that's just pretty really ridiculous, I might say that much. So anyway, alright, so we got 1 more stone left until we're able to actually proceed, and I believe if we actually find every single stones throughout, then this will actually take us to the very end of a level. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. We're doing with more enemies. Jeez. Ever since doing likes it whenever I always managed to beat the likes out of the enemies from before, but now we're gonna be doing with the worst elements throughout is the forms of the fact that since we don't have water with us this time around, so we pretty much have to use the water barrel to enable to actually just weaken them. And there's something I just want to mention about this actually, is that in order to actually deal out with the fire wizard is by simply we need to toss the water barrel right at the wizard, or in this case the fire wizard herself. And that way you would able to actually clarify to able to weaken her, and then able to actually just able to finish her off that way. So there we go then. Is it done yet? I should probably grab some more health though, mainly rings. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. These guys are not done yet. Getting sick with this particular battle theme music already because it's getting repetitive at this point. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I missed my judge of my aiming to toss that little water barrel, but even then, we got that in that time, so that's a good thing. Hui. Sure it's something, right? Sure it's something else. Anyway though, it's going to beat the likes out of this red wasp, and we're pretty much done with him. Now we can deal with this last red wasp looking enemy there. And everything else will be... Get back here, thank you. Hui. Alright, I think that's done, and I'm presuming the redstone is going to be at this particular section there. So there we go. And first off, before we're able to actually continue, I just need to grind for some more experience points. In fact, sadly though, these experience points already disappeared due to I was at off-screen. So that's a bit of a, well, a little bit more controversial if anything else for that relatable, but oh well, nothing matters to me though anyway. Okay, so we've got about quite a few sun medals at this point, at this rate, so even though they'll be good to go, but in forms of sun medals wise, because, you know, that we still need to collect them, but in forms of, you know, the very end of the game. So yeah, now we're actually on the final part of the level, which, oh yeah, by the way, sun medal right there, which actually now leads us to 7 sun medals. So far so good, but in forms of, you know, sun medals, because again, there's no point for able to actually get ourselves continuous amount of moon medals, because, you know, we're pretty much done with moon medals. So, and I believe we got ourselves another sun medal, but in forms of now leads us to 8. Surprisingly enough, we only got 2 more, oh, there's actually another one over there too. That's kind of sweet. I'm guessing that particular nighttime levels was always generous with us, but in forms of getting the last few sun medals towards the very end of the game. Well, the only exception being in forms of the daytime stages because you're in the speed of sound. So, you know, you get the idea. We just get burned out by this fire projectile, in this case the fireball attack, but in forms of that particular wizard type enemies, but Alright, at least the water barrel will do all the job, and... Oh, how do I miss that? Oh, we got ourselves these particular enemies right there. They do remind me of these Iblis worms, but in forms of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, because except the fact that, well, they're made out of like Dark Gaia looking designs, instead of like these little flammable monster like Iblis, for instance, but even that. Yeah, as far as I can tell. But anyways, let's go ahead and just... oh, we got ourselves another moon medal, but before I, grab that, even though, again, it's kind of pointless to able to get, go after every single moon medals at this point, because we're pretty much done with the forms of collecting those. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, I've missed that. Stop that! Jeez. Come on. How do I miss? I need to know how do I miss every single point of it? That's so dumb. Jeez. And I got electrified, so that's pretty terrific. Okay, avoid. There we go. Now we actually soak him up, and we can able to actually hopefully finish him off. There we go. Thank God. That just really annoys me for the most part sometimes, because even I know that if I manage to keep on getting myself burned out, but in forms of how to fat with this particular things in mind, then I would able to get doubly screwed over by these kinds of stuff like that. But at least we can able to deal with that with no problem though. So, before we continue, let's go ahead and grab these rings real quickly and grab the moon medal as promised. Well, even though again, pretty worthless to able to get ourselves the moon medals every now and then, because you know, we're pretty much done with collecting them. So unless if you actually become a trophy slash achievement whore, like I might as well do that for my own time and stuff like that. Well, usually that's mainly the case. So anyways, let's go ahead and go up there. And yeah, these stuff are breakable because yeah, they don't last very long. So yeah, that's a little bit consistent right there. What are forms of that breakable stuff there? And is it possible that I can able to actually shove the cube over all the way to over there on the side of a wall, and able to actually grab onto the on a horizontal bar and stuff like that? I don't think it's actually reachable though, I don't think, so yeah, it's not reachable enough, so we'll just have to like, carry it a bit further from that, or we'll do the work, but I guess assuming it might not be, so even I know it's might as well able to pass that, so, oh wait a minute, the thing itself doesn't allow me to able to actually get into that, okay, I see the point there, I see it there. So what we got to do is a long-fashioned way so that we can able to actually shove the, or in this case, just pull out the cube over onto the other side, because apparently you can't able to actually go across the water while doing that, because, well, because I think the reason why it does that is because, if the cube got into the water, then it'll just go soft-locked and, well, not say soft-locked, it's just how the fact that you might ended up getting stuck, so, okay, there we go, just be fast to able to escape from here, and there we go. There we've actually... Oh, actually, did that... Oh, okay, I think that part doesn't become breakable. Okay, I see the point there, so... Anyways, though, so we got ourselves the last area of this level, though, is that we actually, once again, going to be dealing with wizards, of course, including the fire wizards, and the addition to the Titan enemies. So, it's been a long while, hey, buddy. Ever since during the likes of, you know, Empire City Night, even though despite the fact that you've already kicked my butt on that level though, because you know, we actually ended up fighting you in a small arena. Well, thankfully though, oh, quick, okay, there we go. Hopefully I can manage to able to beat the likes out of him before I'm able to finish him off. Oh shoot, that was close. I was able to actually get smacked by him. Okay, come on, hopefully I'll try to, there we go, now we're dealing with him. Now, in order to actually finish the main level, but in forms of this level, is that you always have to take down this Titan enemy before this particular Gaia key appears, which even I know. Before I grab that, actually, I'm also able to double check of these certain areas I need to able to see what's beyond throughout that particular level itself, and yeah, that's what I can cover for. But even I know, oh crap, I'm losing my a little bit of health left, which even I know I really don't want to die there, because if I accidentally die on this particular point of the level, this means I have to redo the entire slog all over again, which even at that will be not good at all. So anyways though, let's go ahead and just grab the another moon medal, so that's the only things we can get in here. And yeah, we might as well skip over these wizards because they just really wasted my time. So anyway, so let's see what rank we got. We got ourselves, a beloved S rank, and don't you ever dare punch me on the screen because I'm seriously gonna have to, like, well, I don't know. But anyways though, so now we've got ourselves the S rank ever since during the likes of, I would classify for saying, since Missouri Night, because even then that has been a long time since I actually got myself an S rank for a 9-time level for once for this time through, because, you know. Anyways though, so let's go ahead and save, I was too off by getting, level up for strength, which I probably should be able to actually level up the Werehog stuff still, but, oh well, no matters though anyway. But even then though, that's about it by the forms of Shamar Knight. That level can go a little bit longer than I was expecting it to. Probably took about like 20 or so minutes or more than that for your first time players, but even then though, that's as far as I can tell. Alright then, so now we can able to actually deal with Anabad Knight, but of course I'm probably not going to get into Anabad Knight just yet, because actually I might as well able to actually get into Anabad right about now, but I'm only going to be exploring for the first primary hub world part, because I'm probably not going to be start doing the actual premise of the actual level itself just yet though, unless if I'm also able to get myself the last few sun medals before I'm able to do anything, and if I manage to accomplish with the sun medals and especially the moon medals, if it's entirely optional, unless if you again getting yourself the achievement or especially the trophy on the PlayStation 3 version, but that's just how it is with that particular stuff in mind. So anyways though, let's go ahead and head into Anabats for, let's just go ahead and get started with the day Anabats first, and then we'll get the moon medals first, and then we'll switch to night, and then we'll get ourselves sun medals, and then we're pretty much done for that point. But again, I'm probably not going to be able to, get into the actual nighttime level just yet, because, I'm actually going to be, mainly finish up with, Shumar first, before I'm able to restore you know, the 5th continent / the 5th Chaos Emerald. So that should be my goal here, especially noticeable by the forms of, you know, the corresponding order to see what the entire objectives we're going to be heading to next. So yeah, you get the idea. Okay, so we got ourselves 110 sun medals, so we've only got 10 more left, and speaking of which, we've only got 9 more to go, so 111. So now we switch over to you know, Sonic the Hedgehog to able to actually just get these moon medals in the forms of Anabat's primary hub, or in this case the first hub world. I should probably mention saying that, but again, it's kind of pointless to able to. Oh, I don't want to talk to you. What's on your head? Again, you whatever. So anyways, let's get these moon medals there. There's one there, and I believe another moon medal is going to be on almost near to the entrance of that particular, well, at least specific onto this hub. So even then, hopefully I can find one, which, quite frankly, there's one over there. So anyways, let's go ahead and leave Anabad for now, because again, that's we're about to be heading back to Shumar, because I probably should be able to save things up for the next video, because, yeah, that's what I can tell about this point. So yeah, join me next time on Let's Play Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 / PlayStation 3, is that we're about to be returning back to Shumar, and hopefully trying to get ourselves the 5th Chaos Emerald restored, and especially noticeable with the 5th continent, and that's about it. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.